Hello, Gemma here, and this summer I'm sharing with you some of the treasures and tales from the Museum of Norwich at the Bridewell. The museum is in the heart of the Norwich lanes and is packed with stories of the city from the medieval to the modern day. And today we are finding out about the city's favourite doorman, Samson, who now lives just inside the entrance to the museum. Carved from a single piece of oak, this fine figure of a man once stood guard outside the home of Norwich Mayor Christopher J, who placed him there alongside his partner Hercules in 1657. We don't know the reason why the mayor chose this particular pair to guard the doorway, other than an expression of great status, but both the biblical Samson and the classical Hercules are characters known for their strength and power. Just a short walk from the museum and directly opposite the cathedral gates stand these two fiberglass replicas of Samson and Hercules. Now, if you're local, there's no doubt you or a family member would have danced the night away when this building was a nightclub. These two doormen have stood watch over the comings and goings of the city for centuries. These two replicas were placed here in the 1990s when the original sculptures were taken into the care of the museum service. At this point, initial tests by conservators revealed that there was over 60 layers of lead paint that had built up around the sculptures to form a protective shell. Before the days of Ritzi's and Central Park, the nightclub was known and loved as a dance hall during the Second World War, where many a local lass caught the eye of a GI. Over 50,000 American personnel were stationed in Norfolk during the war, many of whom sought out the nightlife here. But it was before the war that the building began its life as a nightclub. It was transformed into a dance hall in 1934 by local builder Edward Bush, who innovatively installed a swimming pool below the dance floor. Pool in the summer, dance hall in the winter. I mentioned that Samson and Hercules stood outside the building for centuries, but in fact for almost 100 years from the late 1700s they were relegated to the back courtyard. We believe that when they were promoted back to the front of the building again in the late 1800s is when they were first painted to look more like stone, and over the years a centimetre of paint built up, forming a weatherproof casing. It took almost 4 years of painstaking conservation work for Samson to be saved, followed by a successful crowdfunding campaign for his own display case at the Museum of Norwich, where he can be seen in all his glory, complete with bulging muscles, sinewy veins, and his famous long curls, which is where the Bible story says his strength lay. Despite this statue being carved over 350 years ago, the details of his features and costume are quite remarkable. You can see the carved jawbone of a donkey in one hand, said to have been his weapon of choice. In the other hand, you can see a fox, complete with traces of red paint on his tail, referencing another of Samson's biblical stories. I hope you've enjoyed this little glimpse into the past of Samson. Do you have any memories of Samson, Norwich's favourite nightclub doorman? Share them with us below. We would love to hear them. And join me again for more tales from the Museum of Norwich at the Bridewell. The display of Samson would not have been possible without the generosity of those who contributed to the crowdfunding campaign, the support of Friends of the Norwich Museums, and the Art Fund. A huge thank you from all at the Museum of Norwich to those who supported Saving Samson.